It is the beginning of May. Welcome in, my friends. 5 minutes with Sean, maybe 10. I appreciate you joining us here on what is sure to be fun, because I'm going to talk about a topic that I've been very hard on over the years. And today's going to be any different, but it's going to be differently stated. So I am a huge hater of meetings. I've always hated meetings. I think most meetings are ridiculous. I believe there's way too much meetings about meetings. And I think people waste their lives and their company's better self by having too many effing meetings. Okay? Now, this is someone who takes meetings and has to have meetings for a living. That is me. That is my job. That is what I do for clients. I meet with clients. I meet with vendors about clients. I meet with clients about vendors. I meet with both client and vendor. So it is my whole life. And so internally, my team and I don't do a lot of it independently, because when we have our calls now with our clients, we bring in everybody. And recently, a client said to me that is the most fun he has had on a vendor call in his life. And it got me thinking, well, how is that possible? This guy's been on a lot of calls. And then I started to think, my team and I really go out of our way to have really badass informative meetings. And we look to do that in under 30 minutes. That is our goal. Sometimes that goal is not accomplished. Why? Because the conversation is extremely relevant and continues to proceed. Why does that happen? Well, that's a little bit about what makes us special. And so because we approach things differently, because we're not interested in always discussing just the data, as you find in the majority of your vendor meetings, data. The data part of it, we sum up in less than 5 minutes on their monthly video. So we don't need to spend an hour talking about something that we as a crew sum up in 5 whole minutes, less than it takes for this show to get finished and watched by you. We have completed up to $100,000 a month ad budget breakdown for our clients every single month. So that isn't it. What is it, though, is how we interact, the questions that we ask. Why? Because everyone on this team, from the social team to the CRM team to the vendor team, have been in freaking retail. So when we're talking and we're strategizing, we're going through things, we're doing it from a position of understanding. We're doing it with consistency. Now, the other thing that makes meetings fun is honest, difficult at times, discussion. I've been on plenty of calls in my career where people who work for the same organization are on a call in separate locations, arguing with one another in front of me and my team. Is it odd? Yes. Is it part of the car business? Yes. Is it my problem? Yes. So how do we diffuse it? We find a way to take the gap and just as soon as the door's open, just step through it and bust it up with a little bit of humor, a little bit of fun, potentially a joke about data, because we're at a data meeting. It's really, for me, if you're going to have meetings with people, it needs to be super intentional. And so if dealers are still taking up our meetings with vendors every month to review their data, first of all, they should call us. And second of all, stop doing that. Give a vendor 15 minutes. Whatever it is they have to say in a given month that have been with, I don't give a shit if it's your marketing. Seriously, I don't give a shit if your marketing company. Now, if you've got multiple rooftops, that's unreasonable. But we're talking store by store here. 15 minutes, a vendor, easy. It's all you need. It's all you need. As I said, especially if there's longevity to that relationship, there should be first of all, an understanding of trust. Second of all, a pretty cohesive plan, what we've been working on, how we've been operating for a while. And again, that's what makes us a little bit unique. So here I sit here and I tell you how our meetings go with our clients without telling you that our clients are usually with us a minimum of 8 years. So when that happens, you develop relationships. Like when we consider a client long-term, they get to 5 years. If they get to 5 years, they get to 8 years. They get to 8 years, they get to 10 years. relationship, always being willing to evolve, always being willing to listen, never having to always be right. That's what we find with our clients and our conversations is being honest, because it's our job to be as unbiased as possible about what it is that we're seeing from the client's data, from the vendor's data, and any sort of in between, like a GA4 data point. If you can look at all three of those points, you should be able to find enough truth to guide whatever it is money you're spending, because it isn't as complex as people want to make it out to be. Check out last week's show. Like I said, first of all, it's about an offer, but second of all, it's about understanding what funnels to put in what money to what buckets for how long. And without messaging, last week's show, be very cautious as to how much you spend in any of that. And chasing analytical goals, impression shares, click rates, these things, they can be dangerous and expensive and not necessarily have the high-end value that people are looking for. So bringing it, back together here, meeting-wise. Sorry, got off track. I'm trying to give you good tips for your meetings if you're going to have them. Meetings are basically useless now. It turns out that we do meetings better here, which, I don't want to say it's part of the name, but it's kind of part of the name of what we do here. So when you have your meetings, make sure they're intentional. Make sure you get to get out what you need covered. And if it goes more than 15 minutes, it better be because there's some awesome strategy discussion happening. That's it. It's as simple as that, my friends. But overall, meetings are lame. Sorry. Not sorry. I have always had a distaste for meetings. I've never really seen what they accomplish, especially when they go on past 5 minutes. That's why this show is 5 minutes, maybe 10. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll do it all again next week. Thanks a lot.